Professor Buzuvis, I know you're a Title IX guru. It actually celebrates its 40th anniversary this year, and it's normally been known as kind of this equalizing legislation. But I do also know that there's broader protections in it against harassment and discrimination. And so I guess the question is, does the provisions in Title IX protect gender identity and sexual orientation, or is it limited just to gender?
Right. Well, yeah, okay, so how does Title IX relate to all this? I mean, the answer is, the question is, does Title IX protect against homophobia in sport? The answer is somewhat. So Title IX is a statute about sex discrimination, sex, period. It doesn't say anything in the statute about sexual orientation or gender identity. But that said, there is judicial precedent that we can look to and borrow from employment discrimination, where prohibitions against sex discrimination have been interpreted to apply to situations where someone is being stereotyped by their sex. What that leads to is protection under a sex discrimination theory if people are discriminating against because they're not conforming to gender stereotypes. So we've seen Title IX applied this way in the bullying and harassment context. If students are harassed, they might be called gay slurs, but if in addition to that, it's also, the victim is being picked on because they're perceived to be, wimpy or puny, or other things that might go along with being the victim of gay slurs, but are also about not conforming to this ideal hegemonic masculinity. Courts have said Title IX applies in those circumstances. Also in outside the context of harassment, if I could bring back the example of Rainey Portland, I told you that she used that line about at Penn State we date boys to the parents of a prospective athlete named Jennifer Harris. Jennifer Harris went to play for Portland, and Portland later terminated her from the team. And Harris filed a lawsuit against Portland, including a lawsuit that included Title IX claims. Why Title IX claims? Well, Portland had said she wouldn't tolerate lesbians on her team. But in addition to that, she had targeted Harris for wearing baggy clothes, for wearing her hair in cornrows, for things that were arguably seen as gender nonconforming, not living up to that ideal femininity that Portland wanted her team to portray. So the part about Harris being dismissed because Portland thought she was sleeping with a woman, not covered by Title IX. But the part of the discrimination that dealt with how Harris looked and acted, and that Portland didn't like how she carried herself in a more masculine manner, that is covered